Am I the a-hole because I told my ex-husband's son the truth about why we divorced and how he came to be? I, 45 female, used to be married to David, 46 male. We were together for 4 years and married for 5 years, from age 18 to 27. I thought the relationship was going well until I discovered David was having an active affair with Claire, who was 25 at the time and is now 43 female. During that time, I collected evidence, consulted a divorce lawyer, and presented David with divorce papers. David did not protest and left me for Claire as she was pregnant, and I had trouble conceiving. As the divorce proceeded, I discovered I was pregnant. Through my moral judgment, I decided to keep the baby and have primary custody, as David was enamored with his new fling with Claire. I would give birth to a healthy baby boy in May, and Claire would give birth in November. David would initially deny paternity of May, but with a DNA test, it is proven he is the father. The boys would grow up to become friends and have a solid relationship despite the tense nature of what transpired between David and me. The boys are now 17 and entering their senior year of high school. November was over last weekend and seemed different, as his mood was sour and he seemed upset. Sitting down with him, I asked what was wrong, and though he appeared apprehensive, he opened up to me about some relationship problems he had been going through. His girlfriend of 2 years had cheated on him, and he was having trouble dealing with the drawbacks of it. He asked me whether or not two individuals could reconcile after infidelity. I was honest with him and said that it depended on the individuals, though it was often better if both parties moved on, as trust between the two had been broken and was not easily repaired. He seemed to take the answer in stride, but then asked me a question I wasn't sure I was prepared for. Is that what happened between you and my father? I confirmed that it had, which is why David and I divorced, that his father cheated on me with his mother, which resulted in his birth. He seemed conflicted and responded, so it's all been a lie. I asked him about that statement, and apparently, his father said that I cheated on him. I corrected him on that point and stated the reason for our divorce was infidelity on his father's part, and I had evidence for it. He thanked me for the conversation and said he needed to go home now as it was getting late. I wished him safe travels and thought nothing else of it until a few hours later, when I received an angry phone call from Claire blasting me for why she argued with her son. He went home to have it out with his father over the situation, but he wasn't home yet and couldn't wait. He had a very contentious verbal spat with Claire, calling her some unpleasant names I would not repeat. She is calling me a homewrecker. The irony in that statement, and that I'm in a hole for poisoning her son's mind. Am I the a-hole for what I discussed with him? Edit. To clarify and answer some common questions I've seen. An and no, they are half-brothers from a young age. I share custody with David as he would have him on the weekends and some holidays. I edited to clarify the relationship as some were confused about how and didn't know he had a brother, but he did. I never discussed with an in explicit detail why and his father didn't work out, as it only came up in that particular conversation. I explained it to him at one point when he entered high school, and I asked him his opinion on my self-dating at this point, as he is getting older but has a relationship with his father to an extent, and he seemed fine with it. This will be the last time I update, as this was meant to be a throwaway account and posting. Please take my experience as you will. Hopefully, it may help or intrigue someone. Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbor no? The house across from me sold recently. The prior owners built it and lived in it for almost 50 years. They were lovely people, and they are missed. I didn't meet the new neighbors until recently. They're living there only intermittently. All renovations are being done. Anyway, we both live on a very busy double yellow line street, and while street parking isn't illegal, per se, it's definitely dangerous as it is a busy, relatively narrow, high-traffic road. The neighbor's house has a smallish driveway that can fit maybe 6 cars, and with the setup of the yard, there is really no lawn parking. I, on the other hand, have a very large, circular driveway that can probably fit 15 to 20 cars if needed, but there is only one entrance and exit point to the street. So, I was out getting my mail the other day, and the neighbor was outside. She came over, introduced herself, and we chatted briefly. Then she said, "May I ask a favor of you?" I laughed and said, "Well, you can ask." Anyway, long story shorter, she said they were having a house party the weekend after 4th of July. They were expecting a large number of people and were hoping they could use my driveway for parking, as street parking is difficult. I said, "Sorry, no. It will block me in. I'm fine with your guests parking on the grass in front of my fence. Have a small fence about 8 from the street, and there's a grass strip in front of it. The Smiths' prior house owners would often use it if they were hosting a large group," she said. "Oh, I appreciate that, but that will only fit about 6 cars. We're going to need parking for another 10 to 12 beyond what fits in my driveway." I again said, "I'm sorry, I can't offer you use of my driveway without it being a significant inconvenience to us. I'm going to have to say no." She then says, "Well, my guests can park along the side and back of your driveway so you can still get in and out." I said, again, "I'm going to have to say no. I'm not comfortable with your guests on my property, and the only light I have at night is my post light out front. It's very dark at night, and I wouldn't want anyone to trip or get hurt." She started to look frustrated and said, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think they can all park on the street." I said, "Yes, I know parking can be frustrating here. There are a couple of municipal buildings nearby. It might be worth calling the town to see if you can use their parking lot since it's a weekend, and maybe shuttle people or have them walk. Other than that, I'm not sure. It's one of the downsides of living on a busy street." I then excused myself and went back inside. Now, every time I see her, she just kind of gives me a dirty look and says nothing. I don't really care about my neighbor not being neighborly, as we prefer to keep to ourselves anyway, but am I the a-hole for not letting her use my driveway for parking? Edit. Since many of you have asked, nitrogen monoxide, she did not invite me to her party. Second EDIT. A lot of people are amazed by the large driveways. I live in a former farm town that is now a suburb in the US. Houses are on 1 to 3 acre lots, usually in the middle. So, they all have long driveways to access the house. This is very, very common in my area and nothing special. Am I the a-hole for going against my husband? I, 35 female, have been married to my husband, 36 male, for 5 years now, and we've always had differences in how we view modesty. My husband is extremely conservative and has strict beliefs about what my daughter, 13 female, cannot wear. He doesn't allow her to wear clothes that show her shoulders or anything that he deems too revealing. This has extended to the point where he doesn't even let her visit her friends because he doesn't trust them. Recently, this has started to take a toll on her emotionally and socially. She has begun to feel isolated and resentful towards everyone around me, including my husband. Last week, I finally had enough. I let her go out to visit for friends for a few hours and let her wear what she feels comfortable in. Now, he's giving me the silent treatment, and I'm not sure how to proceed. Edit. No. I didn't know he was like this from the start before we hit married. My daughter was about 8, and they got along pretty well, and he was a nice guy. He just turned like this over time. And it had been about 6 months now, few days after her 13th birthday. I'm trying all I can to prevent my daughter from this. Am I the a-hole for taking my daughter on a shopping spree? Context. I, 35 female, have 2 kids, one being 13 female and the other 10 male. My husband just took my son on a Bose trip to Michigan, and I just got promotion. My son had been wanting to go on the Bose trip for months, and my husband and I finally made the plans for it. Once they left, I told my daughter, let's go to the mall. She got all excited, which made me excited, and we hopped in the car. We went to Bath and Body Works, and I got her a candle. And we went to American Eagle, and she wanted a pair of jeans and earrings, so I got them for her. Then lastly, we got Starbucks after I took her to Ulta to get her a new mascara. I wanted to treat her since we couldn't go on a vacation. She was super happy and grateful. I wanted to use my promotion for good. Once the woes got home, my daughter was so excited to show her brother what she got. And he got so upset that she got all these cool things and he got nothing. My husband also said that I shouldn't get her all of these things and that it's not fair to my son. They had went on a week-long vacation. I don't want my family to pick sides. Am I the a-hole?